you will see on my footage, this is why it's a good idea to get a drone. You can see from my footage that there is a crop mark, a triangular crop mark, quite reminiscent of a long barrow, I have to say, going sort of let's take these two big stones here, and are one side of the triangle, and the other, the tip of the triangle is over there. That stone over there, can you see it? There's definitely a crop mark. So how did we get here? I am following the Dark Age landmarks of the Liber Landavensis, the Book of Llanfair, and this has led me to the river Castrogi, which in the 10th century was called the Taroci. It is not a long river, 10 or so miles, that starts with a castle, the Cas of Castrogi. It means the castle of the river Troggy, and the name of Castrogi was given back to the river. So it starts with this castle and ends in the Severn, what was called in Romano-British times the Sabrinae, and during the period of the development of Welsh became the Havran, but in the 10th century was called both Sabrinam and Havran. It remains Severn in English, but it is a Celtic word. The neighbouring charter of Shire Newton, which is an English name. Now this charter includes a river Taroci, and we can definitely place approximately where the estate of, or some part of the estate of Shire Newton was. It doesn't match any modern parish boundaries that I can see, but bear in mind I am a beginner in Welsh. It does mention the river going through a ravine, and we can place that because there is only one steep valley on the Castrogi today. So I came here to see if I could get some insight into the ancient Welsh landscape through these charters, and who could blame me if I took a detour to see a stone circle while I was at it. I didn't expect to get an insight into some archaeology instead of an insight into a charter. I haven't seen the parch marks that I've observed in this video mentioned elsewhere, so this might be new information. The only problem with Wales is that everything is uphill, and I've been saying this for 5 years, I'm certainly getting fitter. This might or might not be a cairn. I need to have a look. It looks like there might be a ditch around it. I need to have a look on LiDAR, I think, or satellite photographs. It could be a clearance cairn. It just, somebody needed to plough this field and it moved all the stones in one heap. Makes sense. But I think it might be. It's on the brow of the hill with a magnificent view. Again, probably 100 degrees of view over the River Severn. That's Sabrinam in prehistoric. In the old, well, Romano-British, if not older than that, possibly prehistoric. But yes, we're on the brow of the hill. Setting your grave up here means that people can see you. There's no point being buried here unless somebody could see you and you can see them. And That's why we get the methodology of the brow of the hill. You might have the prestige of the very top of the hill. We've got something on the top of the hill to show you, but people can't see you there, or they might or might not. But with the brow of the hill, they definitely can, and you can see them. I'm in Llanfair-Discoed in Wales, not far away from Porthskeud, where I was last time. I'm tracing the River Troggy, which I described last time. That is its old name. It still has it for about half its length, is Castrogi, which means castle of Troggy. I don't know what the genitive of Welsh is. This is part of the problem I have with dealing with Welsh charters, is that I don't know the language. I don't even know if it has a genitive case. I don't know what cases it has at all. But I have to rely on the evidence of other people and the Latin. So I've just spoken to a local farmer about this landscape. He did the whole spiel, which means I feel like I've done my video, but I haven't actually properly started, which is really annoying. I'm going to have to start again. He was telling me he's going to have to take his lambs away from the mothers, and that's going to break the hearts of the mothers. What a horrible thing to be forced to have to do. I couldn't bear it. But these things need doing. So anyway, yeah, what do? I interpret landscapes based on 1,000-year-old documents. But over about 400 videos I've done English places, and now I'm in Wales, because we have the 1,000-year-old, probably 1,100-year-old book of Llanfair and Liber Landavensis. And that has perambulations in it, quite a few, just like, I think mostly southern, though I haven't fully explored the book. So we've got, but we're in this area down in Gwent, and I want to talk about Gwent later on. We have perambulations that tell us something about the early Welsh people and what they thought about the landscape in which they live. And it means that even though I don't speak Welsh, I can help understand the ancient context of the landscape in the same way that I do with the English. So I don't speak Welsh, but I can interpret Latin with the help of Google AI and my own knowledge. It's topographical language, so the same thing comes up again. Turn left, it's a hill, down to the stream, there's nothing all that complicated about topographic language. It's quite easy to learn foreign languages. That's how I learned Old English. But we have the Troggy, which I described last week, which is the Castrogi today. Means castle Troggy, and it is that river, and the river becomes the Neder, which flows into the River Severn. 1,000 years ago, all of that was the Troggy, the Taroci in Old Welsh. What it means, I couldn't tell you, but I could identify it based on the circumstances, on what's written in Latin in the book. And likewise, next to it is Pŵl Merig. And this is something I can add to the conversation about the ancient landscape in Wales is the use of the word pŵl. So pŵl means pool, or does it? Now pŵl is inherited from English. It's a word borrowed from English into Welsh, and officially it means pool, as in a pond. But the problem is in the Forest of Dean we have medieval perambulations that describe pools. So Welsh is PWL or L, double L, And here is, but it is the Forest of Dean P-U-L-L. Now, were they describing lots of ponds in the Forest of Dean? Well, the context says that they probably weren't. You could get ponds, pools in any stream, but was it the case that every circumstance of the word pool was a pond? I don't think so. Almost definitely it just means stream. And like the modern English word lake, 1,000 years ago it meant stream. It's just these words develop. So this is a stone circle. They keep calibrating the dates for stone circles and various other prehistoric monuments, but you're safe to say it's at least 3,000 years old. If I find anything more on this particular stone circle, I'll let you know. It is interesting for its two standing stones separate. They seem separate to me. Some people include this one as being a part of the circle, but I'm not sure it is. But it's you can't make a line out of 2 points, but if the only standing things, the only standing stones, there are only 2 of them, you can draw a line between them. So it's entirely, I mean, this is the main criticism of ley line people, is drawing lines just sort of primary school level. But it's but with where you have 2 significantly stones don't stand themselves up. So when you get significant things like this together, you can draw a line. You can say there is a connection between them. So this is open access land, something which increasingly I started to value. I did initially sort of despise it for its semi-communist sort of position. It seems to be the 1990s Labour Party trying to win battles from the 1930s with landlords in the Pennines and Scotland, where you get ridiculous, embarrassing fights between the lackeys of communist demagogues and the lackeys of gamekeepers, all having punch-ups on the moors. I find the whole thing ridiculous, and for a modern Labour Party to be doing, be finalising those fights, finishing them off 100 years later, ridiculous. But I value it. I value being here. We are high up. I don't think this is unimproved grassland. I think we are on a mountain with several couple of thousand feet up in the air. I think I'm just looking down on the Severn. What a view! And I think this is why this place is here. It is not on the summit. We have to describe what we see to put ourselves in the shoes of people in the past. We are always the same. We will never change. So there's clearly the view. Now I've got all this scrub land in front of me over here, so I can't see, but I know the lie of the land. I can just see a little bit of the Severn over there. In fact, I could hardly call it an estuary anymore. It looks more like the sea over there. But you're looking at you may well be looking at the way the people who built this came here, coming up from that sea, up the estuary, up the sacred river Sabrina, Sarbonais. If they're Neolithic, they probably wouldn't have called it that. It's Sarbonais. The Neolithic people probably weren't Indo-European. Well, they can't be Indo-European people with Indo-European languages. But if it's later than that, they may well have called it Sabrina or something, some mutated version of that, or some similar version of it that has mutated to Sarbonais, which becomes Sabrina, then becomes Severin, and then becomes the Havren, which is what it is today in Welsh. Seven in English. Nothing to do with the number 7, but it's I don't know what it means. I need to learn Welsh. I must learn Welsh. I don't think it is a stone circle because I think it is a long barrow. Because we only see the stones really in a semicircle rather than a full circle, I think we are seeing the end of an elongated burial mound. What gives the appearance of a full circle are packing stones from the interior of the mound. But of course, the only way to really find out is to dig it, which I can't do. It would be illegal. In my next members video, I shall discuss some of the other thrilling bits of archaeology here, including the only known beaker burial in Gwent. If that sounds like your cup of tea, sign up below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Ta-da for now.